asleep during commencement, hardly I will take pictures of you. Well, it certainly has been an interesting 4 years. It was always hard to imagine being here today. I was just the new kid to Fairview in 6th grade at Hill Sweet. I was just starting high school, walking into honors bio, frightened on my first morning at FHS. And yet, here we all are. We did it. While avoiding those oh-so-tempting distractions of Twitter, Snapchat, and whatever else our phones are buzzing about. Sure, this English paper is due in 3 hours, but which underclassman is Jacob tweeting about tonight? Hopefully, no one's little sister. And how many parents and comments has that Instagram picture racked up? Has Yo Honor Joe updated that Snapchat story lately? And how is Mark still getting favorites on that tweet from a month ago? And of course, there's that math homework to do, but it's so hard to decide which Alex has better tweets tonight. Alex Kruger, with her hilarious observation of this fine institution, or Alex Friedman, flirt with those underclassmen. I'm glad I got to know so many of you, and as crazy as social media gets sometimes, it's provided a great opportunity to see the awesome sense of humor of many of my classmates. And I don't know about you guys, but I've made some great friends in high school, and not from the start either. I started with a small circle coming out of middle school and became so close with others who were there all along. As you all go on, I wish you success, but most importantly, I wish you happiness. My parents told me lots of things growing up. Of course, only some of it was what I wanted to hear. But here are the 2 things that have gotten me through thick and thin. 1, honesty is the best policy, especially to those you care about, because those are the ones who are going to have your back when you need them the most. Plus, isn't telling the truth more fun sometimes, just to get a rise out of people? And 2, find a job that doesn't feel like a job. Find something to do that you are passionate about, something that you can spend the rest of your life doing. This might not be an easy task, but luckily we have 4 more years to figure it out. We have 4 years to pick a major, change it, then change it again, to make mistakes and to learn to fix them. Eventually, we will all find our niches. We will find 146 little places where the class of 2014 will impact the world and the lives of others, and can enjoy every second of that rewarding feeling of accomplishment. So therefore, of course, I wish you all success, but most importantly, I wish you happiness. Pure bliss every day of your life. A loving family to wake up to, fun friends to enjoy your free time with, and a job that you love to go to every day. I hope you each have a sense of accomplishment when you come home each day, knowing that you've worked further towards the cause that you feel passionate about. We all know this grade has had some good times together, as a whole, but also in our own little circles of friends. We've laughed and cried together, we've messed up together. Some of us have practically moved into each other's houses. We've finally decided to start dating people the last 4 weeks of high school. Our experiences haven't been perfect, but that's okay, because perfect was never the goal. Experience was the goal. And not all of our learning was done at a desk, or between 7:40 a.m. and 3:45 p.m. Our experiences were real. We met real people and had real relationships. These will hold great value for the rest of our lives. We know that life in the future isn't always going to be easy. We can't be happy and satisfied all the time, but we can appreciate what we have. The road does get rocky once in a while. This is where a popular quote from Winston Churchill comes into play, going back to our good old days of world history. He said, "If you're going through hell, keep going." Simple words, but profound advice. To some of you, the past 12 years have been hell. It's been a struggle, but you've made it. We've all made it. We are sitting here on the stage one last time as the class of 2014, a class that has We survived the era of blended classes, the wonderful world of 10th period, the cashless community of Fairview, and so much more. These little feats have been just stepping stones on a much larger path to greatness. One last thing, something I want each of you to carry with you as you leave our little town of Fairview Park to start the rest of your life. Please remember that the hard times pass just like the good times do. And to get through the hard times, you have to keep your head held high and to have a positive attitude. And always remember, you will come out as the strong one, because you will forever be a warrior at heart.
Please stand now for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the 2014 Fairview High School Commencement. I'd not only like to take this moment to congratulate members of the graduating class, but I would also like to congratulate the parents, family members, and friends who are also in attendance this evening. There's a great sense of joy and accomplishment at a gathering such as this, and all in attendance have great reason to be proud. I believe I speak for the entire faculty and staff throughout the Fairview Park City School System in saying that we wish you all nothing but the best. Sometimes it can be quite challenging to determine the best message to deliver at an event such as this, and it can be even more challenging to decide just how to present the message. However, it was quite clear to me just what I wanted to say tonight, and not only to the class of 2014, but all who were in attendance this evening. Over the past few years, I've closed our annual Scholars Reception by reminding the award winners to truly appreciate the opportunities presented to them and make the most of what life has to offer. Many of us here this evening have been part of school districts and communities that do not provide the dedication and support necessary to maximize the growth of today's youth. Tonight's address is not a message to just the members of the graduating class. It was also a vital reminder to audience members, colleagues, and even myself. I often fear that we have become a society that does not appreciate what we have around us. And I would hypothesize that this phenomenon is caused by one lone reason. It is simply far more entertaining to complain about what we don't have than what we do. My neighbor might be down on his luck, but he doesn't have as bad as I do. Rarely do we look at the bright side anymore, and no longer do we tend to view the glass half full. If 10 events happen and 9 are positive, we tend to view on the one thing that went wrong instead of celebrating the positives. So I challenge you all tonight to make a concerted effort to appreciate what you have been given, what you have earned, and what you will accomplish in the future. Oprah Winfrey once said, "Be thankful for what you have. You'll end up having more. If you concentrate on what you don't have, you will never, ever have enough." The act of appreciation is not asking one to be satisfied, but it is a necessary step in showing gratitude. And I truly believe those who show gratitude are far happier than those who do not. What would happen if each and every day you began your day and ended your evening by acknowledging an appreciation of someone or something? First, the conscious effort to do so would likely become second nature in a very short amount of time. Secondly, by bookending your day in such a fashion, it will become easier to take a moment, reflect, and remain positive throughout the day. And finally, you'll be guaranteed to have a positive impact on someone else. Graduates, parents, community members, and friends, never underestimate the power that the practice of appreciation has upon those around you. One simple thank you to someone might turn around someone's day, which could trickle down to 10, 20, 50, or 100 others before it is all said and done. So as we conclude this evening, I am hopeful that all of you can put into practice the art of appreciation, because tonight you have the ideal opportunity to do so. The next gentleman to stand behind this podium is about to make his final commencement address. He has had a direct impact on just about everyone in this auditorium, both young and old, student and adult. In a recent letter to the editor, former Board of Education member Dennis Rehor stated, quote, "It is my belief that to forget history, to forget where one comes from, lays a foundation for lack of gratitude." With regard to Brian Deitch, remembering from whence the Fairview Park schools came from the early part of the last decade, the best compliment I can give him is that Fairview Park schools my children attend today are not the same as when he arrived here in 2005. Class of 2014, you've received an outstanding education and were afforded opportunities that very few individuals around you were given. Those of you in the audience this evening live in a better community today than what you did 10 years ago. As is commonly said, you never fully appreciate what you had until you don't have it anymore. It is my sincere hope that we can all appreciate what we have right now, because it is the only way we'll be able to show gratitude towards those who deserve it. Thank you for this opportunity, class of 2014, to address you in the audience, and I wish each and every one of you nothing but the best in your future endeavors.
Thank you, Mr. Sheets, and I just told my wife I was going to be okay till he just did that. But graduates, I hate this podium because I'm talking this way. I want to talk to you, but I'll kind of turn cockeyed here a little bit. But good evening. The graduates, parents, and guests, it is my distinct privilege and honor to share a few remarks with this class of 2014 at their graduation ceremony. Yes, I mean their ceremony. This is for you. You've worked for this. This is your opportunity, and you deserve it. Mom, dad, relatives, I know it's time for you to be proud of them, and you should be. And I join you in that, because at the end of the day, it's about you and the milestones and the events of your lives. I really struggled with what I wanted to talk about tonight. And I went back and forth, and I got to thinking and talking to Carol, and I said, you know what, with the 21st century learning that we're doing, and computers and texting and tweeting, some of those things, Emily, I don't even know about, but that's because I'm old. But there are three, I think, that are foundations that transcend the 21st century to the 18th century to whatever. And so I titled my remarks tonight, Share a Cup of Tea. As some of you may know, I have a wonderful son-in-law from Mullingar, Ireland. My daughter met him when she studied abroad in Galway her junior year at Wittenberg. Patrick has been a wonderful addition to our family and has taught us a renewed interest and appreciation for a number of things that as Americans we take for granted. For example, the first time I explained to him that Carol was making a peanut butter and jelly, a P&J, and he didn't know what that was, and I said, a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And his response was, together? And I said, yeah, that's what we do here in America. One of the other things that he's taught us is an appreciation of drinking tea. I've learned more about tea from Patrick than probably Tom Corrigan is the only one else that knows that much about tea. But the kind of tea I want to talk to you about tonight is a different kind of tea. I want to talk about humility, loyalty, and honesty. You see, these three T's are the foundation of any successful relationship, team, business, or organization. If you would, let's take a moment to look at each one of these types of T. Humility. Webster defines humility as the quality or state of not thinking you are better than other people. The quality or state of being humble. I have a colleague, Keith Bell, who's the superintendent at Euclid, that when he was out in Los Angeles in the 80s, happened to run into Muhammad Ali. Okay, guys, he was the greatest champ of all time, okay? Never mind, okay. Muhammad and Keith started chatting. They chatted in the airport, and then there was a couple of delays on their flight. And so they really got into some in-depth conversation. They talked about everything from the Vietnam War and Muhammad being a conscientious objector to the Foreman fight and the rope-a-dope and everything in between. And if for those of you that don't know who Muhammad Ali is, you can ask your parents, but I'll tell you, he was a guy that was always bragging. He was always telling he's the greatest of all time. He was always out in front telling you how good he was. Well, as Keith and Muhammad finished their conversation and they were parting their ways, Muhammad grabbed Keith by the arm and he said, Keith, how'd I do? How'd I do? Think about it. The guy that's been telling everybody for years, I'm the greatest of all time, has to get affirmation from somebody else. You see, not only is someone who's a self-promoter irritating and uncomfortable to be around, they're hollow. When others provide the positive and compliments and you are humble in your response, you achieve real fulfillment, and your grace will endear you to others and lead you to appreciate the skills and attributes of others. The second T I want to talk about tonight briefly is called loyalty. A feeling of strong support for someone or something. Loyalty. Nowhere more than Cleveland, Ohio, and the Browns can I think of a better example of this term. Every year they sell out the stadium, the draft is much-watched TV, and the fans are some of the most rabid in sports, regardless of the futility of the team. Without hesitation, I unabashedly include myself amongst that group. Johnny Football Manziel is the latest to be the anointed one to lead us out of this era of futility. Now transfer this strong emotional bond and virtue to an individual, such as a spouse, or family member, an organization, or an employer, a colleague, or a cause, and you have something special that should be nurtured, protected, cherished. I am blessed, like all of you, with a wonderful, wonderful family. My wife of 33 years, is my best friend. I have two wonderful children, a special son-in-law, and the most beautiful granddaughter in the world. I just happen to have some pictures. You guys want to see something? I have been blessed to work in education for almost 34 years. Emily, I'm one of those guys that love to go to work every day because I got to work with young people like you and do things for young people like you. I am very committed to producing educated individuals who can live and thrive in the world today. When we lose loyalty to anyone or anything and focus on self, we will find ourselves alone, even though we may feel we're a part of something. We may feel like we belong or are attached, only to find out that when a need arises or at the most inopportune time, we aren't. Building relationships is a never-ending process and often can be hard. Without loyalty to that person or that relationship, like a plant, it will wither and die. The third T I want to mention to you tonight is honesty. The quality of being fair and truthful, just like you mentioned them. The old adage goes that telling the truth is better than lying, even when it's hard to do. We also have heard that the adage that without your word, you have nothing. The poorest honest man is wealthy, and the richest liar is broke. This piece, more than anything else, defines who you truly are as a person. You cannot practice the previous two T's without this quality. If you have to consciously self-promote, and in doing so put yourself before others, the organization, or whatever, you're not being honest with yourself. If you have to fabricate, embellish, or spin information to promote personal accounting, you're not being honest with yourself, nor humble or loyal. We are all God's creatures and have individual abilities, strengths, and weaknesses. By being honest with ourselves, we can work to accentuate our strengths, address our weaknesses, and truly strive to maximize our abilities and our potential. Graduates, I am not perfect. I am not a sage, even though in your eyes I know I am old. I do know this: you are very blessed to have been raised and educated in Fairview Park. The administration and the staff and the teachers are second to none. And the nice words that Mr. Sheets said about me earlier were the result of the efforts of those people. My name was just at the top of the letterhead. So you are blessed, and you should thank those folks if you have the opportunity. Your parents, grandparents, and all your family and friends are extremely proud of you, as they should be. I count myself as part of that group. I do hope that every day you will share a cup of tea, the kind of tea we shared tonight, and you can't go wrong. As I feel is only fitting, I leave you with this Irish blessing, which is one of my favorites. May God give you, for every storm, a rainbow, for every tear, a smile, for every care, a promise, and a blessing in each trial. For every problem life sends, a faithful friend to share, for every sigh, a sweet song, and an answer for each prayer. Good night, good luck, and God bless.
Well, this day has finally come. After spending 12 years in school and the last 4 together as a class, it's time to close this chapter of our lives and graduate. This commencement ceremony is the culmination of the past 12 years of our lives, and although many of us see this as an ending of something great, it is also the beginning of something even better and more exciting in our lives. After today, we will all be graduates of Fairview High School, and we will all begin a journey on our own paths in life. But we will always have something in common. We will always have the memories, lessons learned, and experiences that attending Fairview High School brought us during the past 4 years. When we first came to the high school, many of us did not know what the next 4 years would bring, but we were excited anyway, and kind of nervous. We were all little freshmen, wanting to find our place and a group of friends we could get along with. That's the thing about Fairview. Everyone comes from different backgrounds, but we are all accepted for who we are. Fairview is a place where anyone can find your own group with your same interests that will help you get through all the drama, life lessons, and excitement that high school has to offer. Unfortunately, we also had to learn a very tough lesson early in our high school years. One of the first things we had to learn in high school was how to trust someone again after you've been hurt. Someone we all trusted hurt us, but we bounced back, and we learned to trust another leader. And as it turned out, we learned a lot about the real world in the end. Our grade has done some pretty special things over the past 4 years, and we have created many memories along the way. We'll always remember Red Day, where we started off beating the sophomores our freshman year for 3rd place, and then finally dominating our senior year. We all remember the dances of each year, from being awkward, innocent freshmen, all the way to our final dance at prom. One of my favorite personal memories was winning the Powder Puff game 2 years in a row. Our grade is known for being athletic, and from fall sports to spring sports, all teams saw success. Many of our teams had great winning streaks, as well as amazing playoff runs. Last football season was especially memorable, even though we fell a little short thanks to the referees. In addition to our families, friends, and community, each member of this class also owes their success to the teachers that helped them every step of the way. Whether they were a friend when you needed them, or helped you realize what you wanted to do for the rest of your life, our teachers were there the whole time. They listened to us when we had a problem, offered help whenever they could, and even made class interesting once in a while, even if that meant bringing in food or letting us watch a movie. They always had our best interests in mind and always cared, even though sometimes we made it hard for them. Every member of this class has one teacher that made a difference in their life, and I speak for all of us when I say thank you for everything you've done for us and for preparing us to enter into the next stage of life. Thank you as well to the administration of Fairview High School and Fairview Park City Schools. From the office administrative staff to the Board of Education, you have all been a positive influence on our lives. To Mr. Deitch, good luck in your retirement. During your time here, you have overseen many great changes and improvements in the school system and the community, and we will always be grateful for that. Now, I leave my class with some advice. You all have bright futures ahead of you. No matter what you plan to do, or even if you don't know what you want to do yet, don't worry, you will figure it out. Remember, success will come to you as long as you try your hardest and be true to yourself. Fairview High School and the city of Fairview Park gave us a wonderful foundation. Don't waste it. Abraham Lincoln once said, "I like to see a man proud of the place in which he lives. I like to see a man live so that his place will be proud of him." Be proud of where you came from and what you've done in life, and live so that Fairview will be proud of you as well. I know you will all do great things, and I am happy to have spent the last 4 years with all of you. I could not have asked for a better class to spend my high school years with. Thank you, class of 2014.
He's next to Carrie. I said, oh. Yeah, he sure did.
From nowhere I grew both strong and tall, longing to become, but knowing not the path at all.
The footprints of the winter melted to fields of spring. One love's embrace before I crossed the threshold. To life we sing.
Fairview class of 2014. Here's a scoop. We made it. I know every commencement speech talks about how we all love each other, how we all have changed since freshman year, and how we'll all hope to see each other again and again after graduation. How we'll be in one another's hearts after years have gone by. I won't bore you with all that. I'm not the basic chocolate. Come to think of it, none of us are. We are one new flavor. The class of 2014 is, well, a real treat. I think that's how one teacher described us. For some of these past 4 years have been too long, and for others, they've been too short. It's been a fat minute. Like waiting in line for your ice cream at Dairy View. We are a flavor that took 4 years to blend. Some of us who look like Flat Stanley now more resemble Arnold Schwarzenegger. Some of us chilled out a little too much. Some of us have even become smarter than, just kidding. We all know the smart kids are still the smart kids. Hey, if anything, they've gotten smarter. Yes, that's you, Dan and Marissa. Not all of us were the smartest. Some of us made up for that by becoming great athletes over the years. We've had football players turning from Rudy into Johnny Manziel's. Soccer players who become from kicking and screaming to eventually young Ronaldos and Messis. Swimmers that flip turn from floaties and life jackets to alphas such as Ryan Lochte and Missy Franklin. Track runners handed off from Forrest Gumps and Usain Bolts. That's the thing about the class of 2014. We're not one group of really anything. One of the most diverse classes to ever come out of the View. I am the only second generation Ethiopian 17-year-old twin to come out of FHS. Ever. And probably will ever. Nationality, race, and personality-wise, we represent all parts of the world, including Albania, Cambodia, Vietnam, Montenegro, Croatia, Romania, and more. The class of 2014 is, well, like a crazy creation of Ben & Jerry's ice cream. Now I know what you're thinking, ice cream? But think of it this way. Some of us are bite of oatmeal, another piece, dazed and confused. Next, some salty caramel. A lot of French vanilla. And last but not least, probably everyone's favorite, some sweet chocolate fudge brownie. I'm just kidding. But you can pick up what I'm throwing down, right? It's not really about the colors, it's about the ingredients and how they all come together in the end product. One thing we all have in common that no other establishment can say is we all went to and graduated from Fairview High School together, despite all these differences. I made my own legacy in this home for the Scarlet and the Gray as an Ethiopian prince, just like every one of my knights and fair ladies behind me. Now, don't get me wrong, I may not have known all the answers, like Mr. Corey knows all the calculations. I may not understand what's going on sometimes, as Ms. Hauser knows the temperature of the science room, and also chemical reaction to recipes. I may not even know you're supposed to put a space after a comma. Seriously, I didn't know that. Thanks, Ms. Nicola. But I know that I never gave up. I kept on pushing, running, jumping, and hey, making some army crawling. I was not always the fastest runner, strongest swimmer, smartest student, or most liked. I didn't always get 100 likes on Instagram, nor did I always get any favorites or retweets on Twitter. But when it came to something I wanted, I worked hard for it. Theodore Roosevelt once said, "Nothing worth gaining is ever gained without effort." And I think that's what makes the class of 2014, well, the class of 2014. Through it all, we worked hard to get here and struggled onward to the end, to reach our dreams. And some endings, ice cream melts. Some of us are even eaten. but not this class. And that's what we'll take out into this world. We shout it out like it's our favorite One Direction song. Now I know you're all tired of hearing me talk, so I'll let you go. But first, let me take a selfie. With that, I would like to thank all the staff, such as Ms. Nicola, for helping me understand English language and allowing me to say unorthodox speech. Ms. Hauser for letting me know when there's another equation, there is another way. Ms. Needham for showing us there's a little music in all of us. And everyone who dragged us to this magnificent day for being the ingredients to our many different flavors. We may have caused a few cavities for being such delicious treats. But in the end, I think we turned out just all right. Also, telling the class of 2014, I'd like to just say one thing for next year. May the odds be ever in your flavor. Mama, we made it.
Traditionally, Fairview High School recognizes the top 10 students in each class, along with the salutatorian and valedictorian. These honors are based upon students' cumulative weighted grade point average throughout their 8 high school semesters. Students will be recognized with an honor stole, and the valedictorian and salutatorian will also be honored with a medal. The top 10 students in the class of 2014 are as follows in alphabetical order. Megan Coyne. Elizabeth DeCaro. Richard Feltz. Alex Kruger. Savannah Lally. Jessica Popa. Daniel Riley. Emily Wasserbauer. Our salutatorian for the class of 2014 is Miss Maureen Clegg. And the 2014 valedictorian is Miss Stephanie Miller. Thank you, Top 10.
live in either my past or my future. I'm interested only in the present. If you can concentrate always on the present, you'll be a happy man. Life will be a party for you, a grand festival, because life is the moment we're living right now. For those of you that don't recognize this quote, it is from The Alchemist, which is a book we were all assigned to read over the summer. As soon as I read it, I thought it would be a perfect quote for someone to use on this very day. Many people think of today as a day to remember the past 4 years we have spent together, or possibly the day to prepare for our future. But what we forget is that today is a day to celebrate. Right now should not be a scary time, and it also should not be a sad time. Yes, many of us will be leaving many friends behind, but on our journeys of life, we will meet many new people along the way. As we know from the wise words of Lao Tzu, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. Today should be a happy time for every single student up on this stage with me today, because we are taking the first step to a brand new journey that will bring each of us to a unique destination. I would like to personally thank all of the parents, family members, teachers, Fairview High School faculty, and everyone else who has helped us all get to this point in our lives. Also, it would not be right if I gave this speech without sending out some personal shout-outs to the people that helped me acquire it. Thank you very much to my parents, my brother, and the rest of my family who have always encouraged me to do my best, but have never put pressure on me to achieve perfection. This perfect balance has allowed me to succeed in life, and I thank you so much. I would also like to thank my guidance counselor, Ms. Parente, and all of the teachers here at Fairview who have had me in class at some point or another. I know it can be ridiculous at times, like when I complain about not having a real A, yes, Miss Jones, I'm talking to you, or when I refuse to speak up in class, and Mr. LeBrun and Senora Arancibia can attest to that. But you have all helped me to get the most out of my high school experience, and I cannot thank you enough. These 4 years have honestly been the best 4 years of my life. It is very difficult to come up with a speech that is not cliche, because it is so true. Time flies when you're having fun. I may not have been with this class since kindergarten, like most of the students, but I have been with them for 4 amazing and unforgettable years. Throughout these years, we have accomplished so much, both as individuals and as a group. Some group victories include homecoming parade best float, countless victories from all the sports teams, pretty much 2 powder puff football games, the student staff basketball game, and of course, Red Day 2K14. We have also successfully produced many plays, musicals, synchronette shows, talent shows, concerts, and much more. We are definitely a class with many talents. Every moment and every event of every man's life on earth plants something in his soul. What Thomas Merton meant by this is that everything we do in our past or in the present has some sort of impact on our lives. We have had many great memories together here at Fairview, and it would be difficult to say goodbye to all of you. There are many things I will miss about Fairview, including the awesome teachers, the fun classes, the sense of community, and most importantly, all of my friends. There are so many wonderful and unique people that make up this graduating class. We have nerds, athletes, jokesters, actors, singers, volunteers, and many more. Everyone in this class has something special to offer, and we are truly an incredible group capable of many things. I'd like to end with some wise words of advice from a couple people. Mary Kay Ash says, "Don't limit yourself." Many people limit themselves to what they think they can do. You can go as far as your mind lets you. What do you believe, remember, you can achieve. If we all follow this advice, there is no limit to what our class can contribute to the world. And if opportunity doesn't knock, build a door. These were the wise words of Milton Berle. If you don't want to follow the advice of any of these random people you may have never heard of before, just listen to your heart and let it lead you to your desired destination in life. Most importantly, wherever you go, go with all your heart. Congratulations, class of 2014.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Jessica Popa.
And my name is Amina Wad. On behalf of the class of 2014, we will be leaving money behind to be be divided amongst the 4 classes throughout the 2014 to 2015 school year. This money will be used to help fund any materials that each class may need during the school year. We will also be making a donation to the Fairview Park Hunger Center.
We would also like to take this time to invite our class advisors, Ms. Keener and Mrs. Frank, to the stage. Even though both advisors were new to Fairview High School this year, they were a major help to the class in 2014. From staying after school to help cut carnation stems for our Valentine's Day fundraiser to helping organize our prom, these 2 women put a great deal of effort into making sure we had a successful senior year. We would like to present Ms. Keener and Mrs. Frank with flowers and a card to show our appreciation.
Thank you, Amin and Jessica. Those 2 young people are 2 of many of our scholarship winners in the class of 2014. Through local, state, and national scholarships, along with the many scholarships issued by various institutions of higher learning that these young people will be attending next fall, the class of 2014 has been offered well over $500,000 in scholarship funds. At this time, Mr. Deitch and members of the Board of Education, it is my pleasure to present to you the following students of the Fairview High School class of 2014 that have met all graduation requirements set forth by the Ohio State Department of Education in the Fairview Park City Schools.
Katrina Elizabeth Christie. Nicole Marie Gladish. Melissa Sue Kofi. Isabel Marie Kives. Martha Vandra. Ola Jamal Ali. Shannon Elizabeth Kilbane. Heather Nicole Ziski. Elizabeth Josephine DeCaro. Caitlin Jean Madigan. Alondra Cecilia Aguirre Ortiz. Emily Jean Brown. Kelly Ann Chambers. Danielle Caitlin Burgo. Shannon Lee Jaworski. Stephanie Ann Miller. Emily Owens Wasserbauer. Maureen Ann Clegg. Jessica Alexandra Popa.
Aiden Christopher Warfield. Herman.
Oh, yeah.
Eric Charles Groh. Reynaldo Galindo. Alexander Rayfield Colon. Matthew Patrick Mears. Alexander Paul Friedman. Austin Francis Fox. Kyle W. Fisher. Noah Robert Marsh. Louis Ing. Joseph William Eagle Jr. Jason Michael Puckley. Amin Mansour Awad. Jacob Johnson. Daniel James Riley.
Shannon Alyssa Links. Ashley Erica Johnson. Alex Flanders Kruger. Mackenzie Logan Pierkowski. Kara Elizabeth Samariski. Alana Marie Shambri. Nihad Al-Shakawi. Hannah Rose Philkill. Olivia Erin Knight. Michelle Marmatakis. Claire Marie Rehor. Haley Marie Spraggins. Sarah Marie Yantek. Sherry Marie Gabra. Sarah Catherine Ann Heinsbergen. Amber Elizabeth Mungia. Sarah Jill Slagle. Caitlin Elizabeth Smith. Selena Jade Wood. Anna Arafi.
Daniel James Merritt. Sean Michael Kerrigan. Daniel Nicholas Karliak. Isar Dini. Tyler James Baxter. John Fitzgerald Riley. Brian Joseph Phipps. Luke Anthony Putnam. Michael Xavier O'Grady. Drew Nathan Costas. Stephen S. Michael Anthony DeRosa. Sanad Almanuser. Patrick Anthony St. John. Barry Joseph Myers. Logan James Johnston. Johannes Jordan Palmer Tessima.
Marissa Christine Folkrod. Amanda Jasmine Hernandez. Svetlana Stafford. Miranda Ray Whitney. Nicole Christine Berger. Caitlin Diane Ford. Megan Nicole Cohen. Ashley Nicole Gideon. Emma Catherine McQuaid. Sarah Ann Murtaugh. Marissa Christine Reinhardt. Stacy Katie Tim. Lauren Elizabeth Wilkins. Ashley Elizabeth Decor. Jessica Danielle Decor. Camilla Alia.
Corey Allen Goransky. Richard Charles Phelps. Jacob Daniel Taylor. Andrew Thomas Smith. Ricardo James Richmond. Derek James Osterud. Sean Patrick Lewis. Jason Anthony Kish. Heracles Economou. Henry Ryan Business. Alexander Stephen Oat. Brian Aronson. John Patrick Michael Fitzgerald.
Way to go, JP!
Richard Allen Davis. Philip George Lares. Jürgen Avdiu. Brandon Alexander Rolls. Miguel Calvin Arnold.
Kristen Mary Burgett. Morgan Irene Birds. Madeline Claire Mitchell. Summer Nicole Pyatt. Taylor Elizabeth Webb. Annie Patrice Fransky. Joanna Marie Straker. Emily Elaine Beal. Ashley Ann Sherman. Michelle Ann Field. Savannah Marie Lally. Abigail Nicole McDevitt. Brianna Kovacevic. Molly Grace Sutton.
Bryce Allen Johnson.
some of the easiest words to say. You say hello to start off an introduction, and you say hello when you don't know people. People say hello and make you feel acknowledged and make you seem welcomed. So we said hello to this school as we entered our freshman year, not knowing what was going to happen or where we were going to be 4 years from now. And then the school had hello back. And now we are here with our new memories and our new experiences. We took risks and got rewards. We learned things that we thought we would never know. Now I remember 7 years ago, or however long ago when we were freshmen, we were promised salvation. We went to our first day of school thinking that the last day would never come. We thought the school was a prison and thought we would never be able to get out. Then sophomore year came around, and the school seemed more like a prison now that we were the awkward class. Sophomore year was weird for most of us, as we were unsure of our role in the school. And then came junior year. We can now see the light at the end of the tunnel. Freedom was so close, and we were desperate to leave this prison/school. Finally it had arrived, senior year. We were the ones running the school, or so we thought. Now the light was clear to see, and we were finally getting ready to leave. But as we played our last game, or participated in our last event, it was a sad moment that we knew it was all over. And after the 4 years, we realized that we were not in a prison, but in a home. So now we leave this place that was a prison for us, but slowly turned into our home. And we also realized that with every hello is a goodbye. And now it's time for us to say goodbye. As we are leaving this place that we've called home for the past 4 years, and are going to the real world, or another prison called college. So as we move on, I would like to thank all my buddies in the class of 2014 for the fun times that we had, at the school and as a class. It'll be weird not seeing you all for a while, but we could always meet up in the future or something. Hopefully everyone will remember each other when we're all famous, but if not, we could just say hello again, and bring back the good times of being a warrior, before we got famous and made it. I found a quote from sports announcer Ernie Harwell, and I feel like it's the perfect way to end my speech. It's time to say goodbye, but I think goodbyes are sad, and I'd much rather say hello. Hello to a new adventure. And now I would like to invite the 2 people that have actually made the biggest difference in this school year, Dan and Michaela, for their closing speech. Thank you.
Fellow classmates, the moment that we have been waiting for these past 4 years has finally arrived. After everything we've been through, the time has finally come for our hard work to be recognized. Now in your hands is the reward for all these years of hard work. But after today, when we move on with the rest of our lives, it may be easy for us to lose track of what high school really meant. So while we are standing here today, Dan and I thought it was necessary to share some parting words that reflect upon what these past 4 years of high school meant to us.
4 years, but not so long ago, we walked into Fairview High School as students for the first time, many of us nervous, yet excited for what our high school careers would bring. After years of anticipation of what high school would be like, we finally had our opportunity to experience it for ourselves, and live it up to its fullest. During this time, we made new friends, got involved in a variety of school sports and activities, created numerous memories, and grew closer as a class. Looking back on our time at Fairview, what we will remember most about our high school years are the many experiences we shared together. Enjoying the most wins by a football team in over 50 years, walking onto the stage, walking onto the stage and taking a bow at our last show of Stagecrafters, beating Mr. Vicka and the staff at a student staff basketball game, or maybe even cartwheeling across the stage after receiving our diploma. We remember all the good times we've spent together these past few years. And we especially remember these last few months that we spent together while closing out our senior year. And as we move forward with our lives, these experiences will remain with us and help shape the people that we will become.
Whatever each of us choose to do next year, whether it's moving on to college, entering the workforce, or joining the military, the values that we take with us will be those that we learned and held dear while attending FHS. In this way, the culture of Fairview will live within us in everything we do for the rest of our lives. In years to come, we will be able to look back on our time spent within the walls of Fairview High School fondly, and we will remember the relationships that we formed and the things that we learned. We will be able to be proud of the people we have become.
Part of this pride will arise from the knowledge that we are part of something greater than ourselves. To us, the class of 2014 is more than just a group of individuals. It is more like an extended family that we have all become a part of. Not many high school classes are fortunate enough to become as unified and close as we have grown these past few years. Because of this closeness, we will all share a special bond as we move forward with our lives. We will always have a group of people that we know we can turn to for trust and support, and we can be very proud to call ourselves members of this group, the Fairview High School class of 2014. In the words of the highly honored and recently passed Dr. Maya Angelou, life is not measured by the number of breaths we take, but by the moments that take our breath away. As we go our separate ways and forge our own destinies, we must always remember that life is too short to spend our time just trying to get by. Instead, we must constantly seek out these moments that take our breath away. For this reason, Michaela and I would like to issue a challenge for you, class of 2014.
And our challenge for you is to live up to what you are truly capable of accomplishing and never settle for anything less. Go out into the world and live the life you were meant to live. Instead of letting each day simply pass you by, cherish the moments that you have and live your life free of regrets and full of pride for who you are. Although you may face trials and obstacles in your future, always have confidence in yourself and faith that you will overcome them. Never forget the friends you've made and remember that they will always be there for you when you need them. Most importantly, remember that the people that you graduated today and the bond that we all share. In the meantime, enjoy this final moment together as a class. And as we leave here today, we can proudly proclaim, we are Fairview, we are proud, we are done. Congratulations, class of 2014. It's been a great 4 years. Dan and I wish nothing but the best for you in the years to come. Thank you.